you have a robot that oftentimes talks demonic words to you to summon the demons of Balthazar to kill you while you're asleep? I know! I hate that, right? Like every time. Well, today I'm going to show you an instructive video to impress all your classmates with this simple robot Arduino project. Roll the intro. Roll the intro! Foam board, Arduino and breadboard, jumper wires, 2 servos, HC05 Bluetooth piece, Android device, USB cable, screwdriver, 2 to 2.5 glue sticks, X-Acto knife. Next you're going to cut out 2 7x2s, then 2 5x2s, and then 1 5x7. You're going to take your foam board and we're going to make a base. Cool, now that we have the base or the actual box that'll hold all the electronics inside, we're going to make a little incision right here so that way we have the ability to stick in the USB port. It's not that difficult. I can give measurements on it, but it's just going to be high enough so that way the cord can fit in nice and snugly. You could glue the box on or not glue the box on. I prefer not to glue the box on just so that it's easier to take off and mess with mechanics and put back inside. Just like that, you're going to make an incision right there so the way your Arduino can be fit snugly right on top of it and you're still able to stick the USB cord right there. Next we're going to work on the top part where all the servos and B3 will actually be placed. For this you're going to need your foam board and your 2 servos. What we're going to do is we're going to take the servos out of the package. You're only going to need the big head that has the T and then the screw that doesn't have the ring base around it. Very tiny, don't lose these. The rest of them, you're actually not going to need them. You're only going to need these ones for the next 2, so these ones, get rid of them. You're going to take your screwdriver that has a small enough head so that way it can fit into the actual screwdriver bit. Now remember that when you're putting on the head, there's these little tick marks that are in it, and you're going to want to get the gear so that way it fits nicely snug in there. Next, we're going to take both of our servos and we're going to make them into a pan tilt. For this, I'll give you the exact measurements you'll need to cut out the foam board. Next, you're going to cut out a 1 by 1.5, a 1 by 4.5, and a 1 by 3.5. And what we're going to do is we're going to use these to wrap around the servo so that way they're covered and protected by this white foam. I actually made these grooves on the back of it just so it's easier to bend. And for the curve on the 1 by 1.5, it just needs to be so curved enough so that way it's able to wrap around the foam like that. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 servos that we just secured in the foam by wrapping it around. We're going to glue them on top of each other so that way they can create a pan tilt servo. Now that we have both of our servos securely glued together and wrapped in foam, I want to say this as a warning, make sure you have both of your wires connected out here. The first wire I have is coming to the side and my second wire is coming out the bottom near the arm so that way I can put it into the box and securely connect them. Now we're going to create an arm on the side for B3 to actually stand on. This will be comprised of 3 pieces. What you're going to need is you're going to need a 1.5 by 3/4 and then a 1 by 1.5, and then I create this little triangle piece just so it can act as support when you glue both of these pieces together to create this right angle that'll act as the arm. You're going to glue the side piece on first, and then you're going to glue the top piece, and then we're going to put the support right in between. B3 is almost completely finished. Next, we're going to stick this onto the box and then add the cup. Alright, before we put this and glue this down, I want you to first put where you want your stand and mark it down where exactly you want it to be. And we're going to put it there and we're going to find out where the wires are through because we're going to make a small incision in the back of the box so we can feed these wires to the box and connect them to all the electronics that are going to be down here. Remember, the hole does not actually need to be big enough to where you can stick your finger in it. It just needs to be big enough so that way you can stick the electronics into it. Alright, once you made the incision on the back, you're going to feed both of your wires through that small hole. Then on the other side, you're going to pull them through until they can't be pulled anymore. That's when you could glue it right onto there. There you go. You're gonna want to let it a little bit of time for it to dry, and I suggest taking just a little bit of wires and feeding them back through, just so it has that give and take room, so that way the actual servos can move back and forth. Once it's done drying, you're gonna take an ordinary paper cup, and I recommend, I'm gonna draw a little design on it. There we go, we got a little baby B3-B0. We're gonna glue them right on top of there. But if the cup is actually too big and it goes on, what you're gonna wanna do is we're gonna take some foam board and we're gonna make a circle to go right across that. Alright, once you had a secure bottom, what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue this to top. And don't worry about the cup or the foam board actually being too heavy, because these servos are actually quite strong, and you could probably add something a little bit more heavier than a paper cup. Alright, and there you have it, a B3-B0 about halfway done. Now we're gonna get to my favorite part, the electronics. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to establish a ground connection from the VCC on the Arduino into the breadboard. And to do that, you're going to need 2 wires. I use a male-to-male. I like to use yellow and orange. You're going to take it from the side. You're going to establish a connection from this ground using orange. And the power, I use the 5 volts. That's just because it powers everything, just like that. Now we've established a main connection between the 2 Arduino Uno ports. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to establish a connection from the servos to the actual Arduino board. I like to use white, black, and gray for my servos, just so that way I know which one's which. What you're going to do is you're going to take the brown end of the servo, and you're going to connect from black to brown, white to red, and then gray to orange. Boom, just like that. Then you're going to do that for the other servo too. Once you have both servos connected, we're going to take the other end and we're going to connect them to the board. You're going to connect both of your power plugs, which are both the black and white, and you're connecting to the breadboard using the plus and negative. You're going to connect the white ones, which are the power, you're going to connect to the positive side, and then the black ones, which are the negative, you'll connect to the negative side. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to connect our gray cords into the PWMs. For the code I'm going to send you, I use PWM 3 and 5. Boom, now that we've established a connection for the servo pieces, we're now going to establish a connection for the HC05 Bluetooth module. I actually use an HC06 Bluetooth module, but that just comes with 2 extra pins for hookups. We're not going to be needing it. A 05 and a 06 will work just as well. We're only going to need it so that way we have a ground, a VCC, and a TX and TR. I like to also take a 4, which includes a black, a white, and a gray and a purple to connect them all to the HCC. You will use all the center pins like that. So that way your RX will be black, your TX will be white, your ground will be gray, and your power will be purple. We're going to connect our TX and RX, the 10 and 11 pin. TX will be 10 and the RX will be 11. They should be plugged into those ones accordingly. Next, we're going to establish the power and ground connection to the Arduino. And for this, you can actually use the 3.3 volts for the power, and then there should be an extra ground slot to the other ground slot that we established earlier. And those ones should be connected like this. Alright, now that we've established the servo connection and the Bluetooth module connection, we'll be able to get to the fun part, the coding. Alright, once you've hooked up the USB cable from the laptop or computer to the Arduino, you're going to want to go to this Google document. I'll put a link to it in the description of the video. You're going to copy and paste it into the actual Arduino software. And it's not that difficult. You're just going to click verify to see if all the coding's correct. If it's not correct, you're going to make sure that each exact word is exactly like this it is. But most of the time, copy and paste actually tends to get all the variables correct. Every once in a while, maybe less than sign or greater than sign will be changed, but you can easily fix that around. Once it's done compiling, you're going to want to click upload. It's going to upload all this code into the actual Arduino. Alright, so if it doesn't upload the code into your Arduino and it's giving you an error, you're going to want to go into your tools and you're going to go to board. Make sure that way your board is an Arduino Uno, because that is what we're using. And if it can't find the port, then you're going to want to go to port and click where it says Arduino Uno. If it doesn't show up there, that means it's probably not plugged in. Now, keep in mind this could take from 5 minutes to 10 minutes if your computer is really low and slaggy, or if it's never uploaded a piece of coding before. It's going to take a while to get used to it. Alright, the code is finished uploading. Now I'm going to show you guys how to download the actual app on your phone. Okay, in order to download the app, you're going to want to go to this Google Drive file. I'll put a link of it into the description. You're going to want to click the download button and then open with your package installer. Then it's going to try to download the APK, but the settings won't let you install it. Trust me, it's not a bad app. I invented it myself with a little bit of help. You're going to click allow from the source, go back, and then click install, and it's going to install the app into your phone, just like a regular app phone. Once it's finished installing, you're going to want to click open. You're going to scroll down and turn on your Bluetooth, and then look for it down here. It's going to try to find it, and it's going to be labeled HC05. You're going to click it, and if it does give you a number for HC05, the regular password for all default HC05 Bluetooth modules is just 1234. There, now it's going to be into your Bluetooth, and you're going to want to go back into the app and look for it in the Bluetooth section. And it's right there, HC05. Bluetooth is then going to connect to it, and you'll be able to access your B3-B0. And that's how you make your very own robotics Arduino project.